Across the world's most affluent areas, there's one common thread: the Mercedes-Benz G-Class. From Beverly Hills to the Hamptons, the boxy Benz is the preferred choice of propulsion for the world's elite. Sadly, supply chain issues forced Mercedes-Benz to retire the V8-powered Mercedes, and several of its siblings, for the entirety of 2022 before reopening orders for certain models like the GLS 580 later on. But it seems the G-Wagon is officially back. Aside from the announcement of new models for 2023, Busa also published revised pricing and trim updates. Already a pricey proposition, the G-Class now has a starting price of $139,000, representing an increase of $8,000. According to the automaker's American website, the 2021 model sports a price tag of $130,000. For the average G-Class customer, this increase is nothing worth getting upset about. Pricing for the highly desirable G63 AMG model is yet to be disclosed, but the 2021 model has an MSRP of $150,000. If we apply the same 6.18% increase to the high-performance derivative, we can expect the 2023 model to weigh in at around $166,000. So, what can buyers expect in return for the additional outlay? We're not sure, but Mercedes plans to announce G-Class and AMG G63 updates for the 2023 model at a later date. Hopefully, buyers will be compensated with more comprehensive standard features or enhanced driver assist systems. The biggest news here, however, is that the G-Class will officially be made available in the States again. Early reports indicated the body-on-frame SUV would make a return for 2022, but, as mentioned, the manufacturer's website still lists the 2021 model. This lack of G-Class inventory saw certain dealerships place ridiculous markups on existing units, with some retailers charging double the recommended retail price. Hopefully, the expected influx of 2023 models will put an end to this. Rumors suggested the company placed a stop order on the G-Class, but that has since been dispelled. While customers can place orders for the rugged Benz, that doesn't mean they aren't in for a long wait. An unnamed Mercedes insider claimed some buyers may have to wait until 2025 to receive their model. By then, Mercedes-Benz will have already given the G-Class a mid-cycle refresh and will have introduced the electric EQG. According to the company's Ola Cal News, chairman of the board for the Mercedes Group, the all-electric EQG is expected to hit the scene in 2024. A battery-powered G-Wagon will go down a treat with the brunch and Balenciaga set. There's nothing trendier than a luxury electric SUV at the moment. We wonder, though, whether Benz's new pricing strategy will see the G-Wagon dwindle in popularity. After all, the more advanced and more cosseting Range Rover is available at a more palatable $104,000. You can even purchase a P530 SE derivative for $120,000, and that comes with the BMW-sourced 4.4-liter V8. What's more, that gives you a considerable chunk of change to use for optional extras. Then again, the G-Wagon's desirability is unwavering, so, even with high prices, it will continue to remain a success for the three-pointed star. When it comes to the appeal of high-end cars, many lure in buyers with magnetizing performance capabilities, some with jaw-dropping looks, and others with ultra-luxurious hotel-like interiors. Then there are vehicles that draw their desirability from other, more unorthodox sources that are pretty much impossible to replicate, and the Mercedes-Benz G-Class is one of those such machines. Otherwise known as the G-Wagon, the Mercedes G-Class SUV is universally viewed as a symbol of high status and repute, and those with the means to do so opt for the boxy six-figure rock crawler more for its historic value than its actual features, though that doesn't mean that the G-Wagon isn't extremely capable. After a complete redesign for the 2019 model year, Mercedes-Benz only further cemented the G-Class desirability, and it's an extremely popular choice among movie stars, athletes, political figures, and even sultans. Here's the complete story of the G-Wagon's rise to fame. Back in 1973, Mercedes, known at the time as Daimler-Benz, began to develop a smaller vehicle that could replicate the capabilities of the brand's all-terrain Unimog truck, motivated by a special request made by the Shah of Iran, who wanted several units for military use. Even though Shah was later displaced by the Islamic Revolution before he could see his request come to fruition, Mercedes delivered regardless, and the first G-Wagon, or G-Wagon at the time, was born in 1979 as the W460. With specific military intent in mind, the utility vehicle wasn't initially sold to civilians, but fared extremely well within multiple international militaries. In 1980, the Vatican asked Mercedes to manufacture a special version of the G-Wagon that would serve as the Pope's transport for public appearances. The company based the modified version on the four-door 230G G-Wagon, and it featured a clear thermoplastic box in the rear, which afforded the Pope more visibility whenever he gets driven by. The Pope Mobile G-Wagon helped the model gain worldwide fame, and limited production civilian versions were also manufactured shortly after, with new implementations such as air conditioning and an automatic transmission. For the 10th anniversary of the G-Wagon, Mercedes unveiled a new facelift version of the model at the Frankfurt International Motor Show. In addition to exterior updates, the newest G-Class also featured a variant with permanent four-wheel drive, optional ABS, and a leather interior with wooden trimming. Just a couple of years later, Mercedes would also grace the G-Wagon with cruise control, running boards, ventilated front disc brakes and a driver's airbag. Little by little, with each passing year, the former utility vehicle was becoming a capable off-roader with a stacked and luxurious interior, maximizing its appeal to the public, and after building the 100,000th model, it officially received the G-Class name. It's also worth mentioning that the G-Class, which was previously sold solely in Europe, finally began to reach US borders after a company called Europa received special permission to import them. However, Europa had to modify the G-Class heavily to comply with national standards, which resulted in a six-figure retail price that granted the boxy SUV the exclusivity and appeal that it maintains to this day. Previously, the only G-Wagon units to reach America were gray market specialists' imports brought in through regulation loopholes, but the practice ended after tightened restrictions. In 1998, Mercedes finally unleashed a V8 powered version of the G500 range-topping trim, which made 296 horsepower, granting the G-Class the only thing it lacked: power. Additionally, just 1 year later, AMG would join the party as Mercedes introduced the G63 AMG with 354 horsepower and 387 pound-feet of torque, and by 2001, all versions were officially being sold in the US through Mercedes-owned dealerships. Sales in the US began to skyrocket with each passing year, and Mercedes continued to grace the demanding market with increasingly crazy models, including the G-Class 6-row SUV, the six-wheeler G63 AMG, and the gigantic 4x4 Superscript 2. Well before these, the G-Wagon had already fully established its title as one of the most desirable high-class SUVs in the world.